Hello, welcome to the second game of Unicorns of Love vs Schalke 04 Evolution. My name is Shepard's Eagle. This is a game analysis, draft and game analysis, and if you want to check out the first game, I did an analysis of that too. I'm gonna review the whole series. So if you missed some of the information, maybe that comes from the first game, please watch that first. So let's jump right into the draft phase. If you don't know, Jon was a first pick for Schalke Evolution last game. They had blue side, now they swapped that. Unicorns of Love chose blue side now. Schalke 04, I'm not going to talk about the bans too much because in Prime League, this is Prime League by the way, the bans are a little bit all over the place. Sometimes target bans against specific players, but mostly comfort bans, since the players in Prime League prefer a little bit of a different meta style than I would say in, for example, LEC or Worlds. Even though it's pretty similar in most regards, but some special picks like the Jon or even the Quinn and Jax are a little bit like off meta, I would say. So let's jump right into the draft. Unicorns of Love started with the Jhin first pick. In the first game, I was definitely not convinced by Jhin. And Unicorns of Love must have known that the Ezreal, which Inex played in the first game, was gonna follow. So Inex on Ezreal showed a monster performance. I expected that either to be picked away from him instead of the Jhin, or at least to be banned. It didn't happen, so Unicorns of Love feel like they have something prepared for the Ezreal. I hope so. We're gonna see in the game. I didn't see the game yet. So, Jhin first pick is okay. Like maybe Venser is comfortable on the champion or whatever, can be that. Let's jump onto Schalke. Orianna and Thresh follow. Orianna, very, very late game heavy champion. Mid game she can fight in skirmishes and team fights very well too. In laning phase she's gonna play very defensively. So I expect the team composition that if I only focus Orianna and Thresh here, that would go for mid to late game fights. Maybe skirmishes, maybe a little bit more team fight, but not too much of a siege or a poke composition there. Even catch composition would be weird with Orianna, but can still be picked into can still be drafted with the Orianna and the team, like, because Orianna is a very, very safe pick and it doesn't say too much about the team composition, if you get what I mean. The Thresh, on the other hand, same story, is like a playmaker. He can work in different compositions, in multiple compositions, like in a teamfight composition. He can work, doesn't prefer it, to be honest. Catch composition, Thresh can do some work, definitely. In a siege composition, of course, not that much. Poke composition, nope, not at all. But yeah, I think Schalke 04 don't really reveal what they plan to draft, like what composition with these two picks, so I like it. Afterwards we see Leona and Jarvan locked in. In Prime League, Jarvan can work, like in the LEC or in Worlds meta. Jarvan is completely out, like this dude didn't get to play once this year, I feel like. It got pulled out once, I don't remember which team, whatever. So in Prime League this can work because the players play a little bit different style, as I said. The Leona was picked by Schalke 04 before, paired up with the Ezreal. So they picked that away from Schalke 04. I have to say I like the combination of Jhin and Leona a lot more than the combination of Ezreal and Leona. The reason Schalke 04 picked Leona before was to basically play around Jon, because they had Jon. And Leona didn't have any agency to really stay in lane and play a lane heavy game, because Ezreal was basically left alone there. So the comp from Jhin and Leona can work very well together, because Leona can go all the way in, Jhin can stay a little bit safe from the back, CC with his W, open up with his ultimate and just poke the enemies down, while Leona is eating most of the damage and CCing the enemies to death. So I like this combination, even though I wasn't convinced by the Jhin performance from Venser before, but let's see what this man can pull off this game. Jarvan, on the other hand, Sorry. Jarvan, on the other hand, doesn't really look well in this meta, to be honest, because he loses against farm-heavy junglers, like the Nidalee, which we're gonna come to later, and his only purpose basically is to gank the hell out of his lanes, to just really get an early advantage, because later in the game he really falls off, like he really drops like a stone in this meta. So I expect Unicorns of Love to play really early game focused with a Jarvan pick, to play around the lanes, to really get his laner, to get the laners ahead, and try to snowball. So second pick phase bans are Rakan and Bard for Unicorns of Love, and Kha'Zix and Evelynn for Schalke 04. As I said, not gonna talk about that too much. The Rakan was picked by Unicorns of Love in the first game. Maybe they just don't want to face that. Like, you could argue that they picked it in the first game that just to take it away from nukes, and in the second game to just again take it away from nukes and ban it out. But they didn't want to pick it. As you see, they picked the Leona, which is perfectly fine. Leona into Thresh, by the way, is, just to talk about that for a second, Leona can really disable Thresh's playmaking potential, which I like, because Thresh is very, very dependent on first making a good hook, of course, hitting the hook, and then just jumping right into the enemies, holding them in place. So, for example, an Ezreal can just pew 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 do damage over time. Leona, as I said, can just first deny that engage, because if Thresh wants to hook, she can just engage before he can even hook. And if she sees, for example, the Q animation like this, Leona can also channel her E and jump right into him. So she denies a lot of playmaking potential from Thresh. Second phase, as I said, we're gonna talk about that now. I think the Vladimir, the Vladimir is an okay pick in this case, because it can be picked as a flex pick, like into mid lane or top lane. So Unicorns of Love keep that open for the last pick. Into Orianna, I would consider Vladimir not a too heavy, like, how do you say that? No. Like, he doesn't have a lot of advantages into Orianna. He can play the matchup. It's a skill matchup, I would say, even though Orianna can use her poke very effectively against Vlad. So I think this is a nice move from Unicorns. Now Schalke 04 have to reveal their bot lane and their jungle. It's the Ezreal, like in the first game. No question about that. Inex really performing well on the champion. And we got the Nidalee, of course, as an answer into the Jarvan. Because, as I said, Jarvan is weak against the farm-heavy junglers. Because Nidalee gets ahead early. She just farms herself up until she's fat as fuck. Sorry for that. And Jarvan tries to gank more lanes than Nidalee. So at some point Nidalee is gonna outfarm Jarvan. She's gonna be more dominant than Jarvan at any point after mid game. So I expect that to happen. Of course, we're gonna see how that plays out. Only thing about Nidalee, if Schalke 04, like if Lurox cannot make that pick work, for example, if Jarvan gets some good counter jungling off, or Nidalee doesn't get to get her lead through the power farming, Nidalee really gets useless in mid to late game. Like, especially in late game, Nidalee against this team composition doesn't have any agency. So this is kind of a risky pick. We're gonna see how Lurox pulls that off. And to jump into this pick here, to the Ezreal, I think Ezreal into Jhin Leona serves the same purpose like in the first game. Inex just wants to farm safely. So, like, Thresh can roam around the map, do his playmaking, maybe put his mid lane a little bit ahead, or help him out if he's playing against a difficult matchup, or even secure some objectives. Well, so Ezreal, not much to say about that. The last pick for Unicorns of Love, the Echo, is, in my opinion, like we saw that in the first game, very nice into Orianna, because he can abuse a little bit her weak or her defensive laning phase. Orianna doesn't have a weak laning phase. It's a very well rounded champion, but Echo can abuse that. Like, he can push in Orianna, and even if it comes to a gank, he can at least duel her. And if he gets an advantage, by the way, like if Echo is able to snowball, he's gonna be all over the map. And Orianna, well, she can wave clear pretty decently. She's, as I said, a very safe pick, but she cannot follow Echo anywhere. So, to talk about a little bit about the team composition itself, it seems a little bit all over the place, to be honest. I didn't talk about the Renekton, actually, I just forgot the Renekton, wow. Sorry for that. I think the Renekton is, is planned to go into Vladimir, even though I would say this is a comfort pick. Because, yeah, well, I don't really see how Schalke plan to play out that game yet by the draft. I think Unicorns of Love, they really play for the catch composition. Like, Leona wants to roam a little bit more, even though she has to stay with Jhin. But since I think they expected the Ezreal pick here, Leona is gonna be roaming. They are gonna play for catch potential, like for catching out enemies off guard. So Jarvan playing for catch, Echo playing for catch. He should roam, and we didn't roam a lot in the first game, which in my opinion was a heavy mistake. I hope he's gonna do that in this game. So catch composition on Unicorns of Love side, and Schalke's composition, I would argue, can be a teamfight composition, even though I doubt the Nidalee and the Ezreal there, because like you need a lot of DPS if you play a teamfight composition and a good frontline, and neither of those is in Schalke's team composition. Like Renekton, very early game focus champion, falls off heavily in late game. Can pair up with Thresh pretty well to enable some playmaking because of his dashes, his slice and dice. But yeah, well, overall, I don't really like this Schalke composition here too much, because it misses some of that crisp game plan we had in game 2, where Schalke was really drafting a full teamfight composition, and they pulled that off perfectly. So let's jump right into the game. Don't want to talk about about the draft too much, since in Prime League a lot of games are decided just by the execution. Let's see what we get to face here. That's something you can do, like abuse a little bit the early level 1 that Nidalee has with her spear. If you hit it, you can really send someone back to base, but yeah, well. Not gonna miss out on anything here in case of a Vladimir, so whatever. As you can see, the Leona is already moving all over the map. This is what you can expect from Dreamer Ace through the whole game. Like, he's gonna be roaming. It's the same as Thresh, for example. Because Thresh is in an Ezreal lane. Like, he has some playmaking potential, they have some damage in bot lane, but definitely not the best all-in, I would say. Because Jhin is gonna out-DPS Ezreal at some point with his crits and stuff and his movement speed, so yeah. I expect to see a very early Jarvan gank. Nidalee, on the other hand, is gonna farm up, mostly. Because Nidalee wants to get her items, because then she really gets a heavy threat for the enemies to deal with, since, yeah, this is what you can expect Renekton to do the whole early game too. He's gonna pressure Vlad, because he has, like, the early tools to really get his lane ahead. Typical early game champion. I was talking about Nidalee. She is really dangerous when she gets Runic Echoes, since then she gets a lot of damage, a real power spike there, and basically all the lanes are in threat to get a spear in their head, basically. That's why Nidalee is such a danger when she gets a lot of farm. I don't know why Jarvan is actually doing his full clear now. Maybe he just wants to keep up in experience with Nidalee, but this is something I was talking about in draft a little bit. This is why Nidalee at the moment has some reasons for being meta. Because Jarvan has to keep up with her. he cannot just, like, if for example the enemies would have a tank jungler who would not farm too heavy, wouldn't be interested in doing full clears all the time, then Jarvan would already be ganking. Like, then he should have gotten off 2 ganks twice, like 2 ganks already now. But now he has to really keep up with the pace of Nidalee, and that's why he's not able to just gank, because then he would lose out on experience and farm very, very early, and Nidalee would have an easy time to out-farm and out-level him. So, as you can see, Nidalee did her full clear. In ganking, of course, she needs her setup. Renekton can provide that setup, but at the moment, yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. As I said, I didn't watch the game yet, so it's a surprise for me too. That's a little bit weird that Kerberos tries to face check there. Okay. Ooh, red buff. Damn, bro. That was very, very, very well played by Lurox and very poorly played by Kerberos. Like, he must have known that something was happening there, because this is the timing where typically you can expect a jungler who's doing a full clear in your lane. So I don't get why he was face checking that to place a ward. He should have done that way earlier. So bot lane, as expected, Ezreal is getting pushed in with Thresh. Leona and Jhin have the pressure in lane. They play that out decent, I would say, up until that point. Nidalee is clearing her camps again. Jarvan again. I didn't see one gank from Jarvan yet. Nidalee already ganked, and Jarvan is just like, I have to keep up with that farm. I have to keep up with the Nidalee, so she doesn't out farm him or out level him. So this is why Jarvan is not picked in the normal meta we see at LEC, at Worlds, or anywhere else in the bigger regions, because he's just like running behind the Nidalee all the time. I mean, we're 5 minutes into the game and Jarvan didn't get one gank off. He had some opportunities, to be honest. As I said, I expected the very early gank, so this is not the way how you make a Jarvan work, because now he's committing to falling off early and not to enable his team. Like top lane, for example, Jarvan could have ganked that after clearing his topside jungle already. If they managed that with Kerberos, if they managed that they could have pulled that off. So now Jarvan is basically running around. I don't get why he's doing that. He's warding Drake, but he can't do it because he's in threat of Nidalee. And Nidalee, on the other hand, is invading his jungle. She doesn't find anything there, of course, because Jarvan cleared out the camps before, so he denies Nidalee those camps. But on the other hand, Nidalee is fine with that. You know, like Nidalee can chill now because Jarvan didn't get one gank off, so he doesn't fulfill his purpose being in the game yet, even though that's his purpose. And look at Lurox. Like, he's doing what the Jarvan should be doing at the moment. Ganking. Being a threat all over the map. The enemies don't know where they can expect him. So, yeah. This is definitely Schalke favored from the early game perspective. Just because of Lurox. Because he's playing out the Nidalee pick very, very decent. I mean, right now, look at top lane. Or look at even mid lane. Like, Argorin should really pressure the lanes. Even though he might not get a gank off, a successful gank, it doesn't matter. He has to show presence, like to keep Nidalee away from farming, at least. You know, he's just keeping up with her, trying to farm. But Nidalee is gonna outfarm him at some point. He's outfarming Nidalee at the moment still, don't get me wrong. But when Nidalee gets her damage and gets a faster clear, that's over. She can do Drake now for free, of course Jarvan knows. Maybe he's trying to steal it away. Okay, he pulls it out now. But bot lane from Schalke has pressure now, because they made the call, hey, we're gonna start the Drake. So Jarvan doesn't really have any agency to steal that away. Maybe a risky steal, but I don't expect... Okay, he goes for it. That was... yeah, as I said. Bot lane of Schalke 04 had pressure, they were there instantly. No chance. Well played by Schalke, but as I said, that's not what a Jarvan should do in that game. And sorry for focusing that hard on the jungle, by the way, but this is what the early game is all about. Because you have a winning matchup, not a completely winning matchup, a winning early matchup in top lane for Schalke 04. So Jarvan knows that he's not gonna do much there in late game. He can gank Vladimir early to maybe make his laning phase a little bit better, to help him out there. But at least he should be trying to go mid lane all the time. Like Envy showed us last game, he had a good performance on Echo. So why not help that man to get ahead? Like now Jarvan is just clearing his camps. This is not what a typical Jarvan wants to do. He wants to be in every lane at the same time. If possible, of course. Because right now, this is a perfect opportunity, you know? But Jarvan, like, I mean, Envy must have called I'm fighting Orianna, and Jarvan is just going through his jungle, clearing his camps. He's throwing away what he could do for his team right now. He's just like, nope, I'm not gonna do it, guys. I'm gonna farm, I'm trying to do the impossible, keep up with the Nidalee. And Nidalee already outfarmed him. As I said, we had Jarvan 10 CS in the lead before, now Nidalee is 10 CS in the lead, nearly. So this is gonna flip from now on. Jarvan won't have any agency to really contest any objective Nidalee will start in the future. As you can see, they just take over the Herald, say thank you for the leash, guys. And that's about it. So yeah, let's watch this a little bit more, but I expect this game to be definitely Schalke favored, like the last one. Yeah, the swap is something you can do, even though I would doubt the effectiveness of that. Maybe they want to shift the pressure from Drake to Herald a little bit, but I don't know why you would do that at that moment. Because Jarvan is not doing anything. That guy is farming. He's farming. He's not even getting any good objectives. He didn't get Drake, he didn't get Herald. They don't have any setup for that at the moment. Herald is gone. Why would you lane swap right now? Now you have the exact same scenario you had before, just the other way around. Renekton's still gonna punish Vladimir for being outside, for not being under his tower. Top lane, same game like before, safe farming Ezreal. And now you see their bot lane is moving around in the jungle, but for what reason? It's nothing there. Nidalee is there. She can hit some spears and poke them out and give them a hard time. Okay, they got crap, congratulations. Why? Not a fan of that, to be honest. But maybe they reveal some crazy strategies why that's the right call now. Let's see. Tell me in the comments what you think. I like that song. That's nice. Reminds me a little bit of the Cantina song. Classic Renekton early game. But Vladimir is already catching up a little bit with his heals, but even though I don't think this is gonna change too soon. Very one-sided matchup. This is what I mean. The lane swap now favors... I mean, I think Unicorn started the lane swap. At least initiated it. And now you see that the whole map just switched. Like top is bot is top, but it's the same. Schalke and Fear still have pressure onto Vladimir, and I think Lurex is doing it very well to keep Vladimir down, so that he doesn't get to his item spikes too early, because he's a real late game threat for them. And on the other side of the map you see Jarvan just having a walk in the jungle, for whatever reason. Nothing's happening there, no objective there. It's nice that they have control over the river, don't get me wrong. Maybe they keep that up until the next Herald spawns and they get the Herald from that. Could be. But I doubt that decision to lane swap here and to basically let run around Jarvan free here for no reason. He doesn't get any ganks off here. Like, he faces a top lane that is staying safe because Ezreal, Thresh, he cannot gank those two guys on the tower. Impossible. Mid lane, well, Orianna stays safe. What did you expect? You know, that was the same procedure like before. And now he lost control over Orianna, over Vladimir, over Renekton, and over Nidalee. I just don't get that lane swap. I don't get it. Why would you do that? Doesn't make any sense. Schalke 04 are even more in control now, because they have the advantage bot lane. They can take first tower there. Yeah, so definitely not the best call from Unicorns, I think. They try to get the other tower to make a cross-map play, but as I said, it's Thresh Ezreal. You don't just dive them, that's impossible. Renekton joins the fray. Yeah, the Jhin ultimate won't do too much there, to be honest. Okay, okay. I respect that. Unicorn's really committing to that. Nice. Yeah. And there we go. You don't just dive Ezreal Thresh. Especially not when Renekton and Orianna can join. And this is why I said I don't really get why you lane swap there. Because now they are in pressure to make a cross-map play. They lost the first tower. They lost all the platings on the bot tower. Renekton and Nidalee got most of that gold. They go in top lane. And now they are forced into the situation to make that cross-map play, even though Renekton has teleport and Vladimir is behind. And Nidalee basically gets a free Drake again. So this is a really bad decision, I would call it, from Unicorns of Love to make that lane swap, because I think at this point of the game, we're just 13 minutes in, don't get me wrong. I don't want to count anybody out here. But I think this lane swap definitely lost Unicorns the game. Right here. Because from this point on, definitely Schalke have the map control, have lane pressure, and definitely have a gold advantage here. 5k already. 13 minutes into the game. This is not nice. Yeah, Renekton is gonna bully Vladimir out of lane now completely. Flash. Whatever. This Renekton couldn't be happier at the moment. He got Executioners already, got Blade of the Rune King already, you know, like... Thresh can deny that tower dive completely, like he puts his box there, Ezreal can stay safe, poke from range, and they are like, oh, where we go, okay, we wait for Echo, maybe now we can go, okay, let's go, we got one, okay, we got the Thresh, but now, Renekton has a stun, Ezreal still didn't get any damage, Orianna came in, they all committed for Thresh. This is not worth it at all. Wow. And the Jarvan from this point of the game on is completely useless. Like, this is what I was talking about in draft. He had to gank the shit out of his lanes. He didn't do any of that. I didn't see one successful gank from Jarvan in this game. And we are nearly 15 minutes into the game. His window is over now. We're gonna approach mid game now. Laning phase is over. Sorry. And yeah, Nidalee way ahead of Jarvan. 2 kills, 30 farm ahead, 30 CS ahead. This is just over for Unicorns. Seriously. If you pick Jarvan in a meta like this, you definitely have to know how to make him work, and I don't feel like Agorin really knew how to make that pick work, because no, you see how squishy that Jarvan is, man. Yeah. Renekton can do his split push now. Basically they're playing the split push style now with the Schalke 04 composition, which is totally fine. Renekton can do that. It's not a composition I would classify as a split push composition, more as a catch composition, but the split push at this point of the game is an easy thing for them, because Renekton doesn't have a lot of threats against him. Like, if Vladimir wants to fight him, Renekton is fine with that. If Jarvan comes, he's a one-shot for Renekton. If Echo comes, he's not too far ahead. Of course, he could be some danger for Renekton, but as I said, Renekton is just too fat. And Jhin Leona, of course, they're not gonna face off against him. So Renekton can do whatever he wants now on the map. No threat at all for him. He can split push, he can catch out people, he can do whatever he wants. Schalke enabled him perfectly. Sleeping has a really good time on that champion at the moment, and he plays it well, I would say. So, and Nidalee is just happy because she can farm up all the way. He's 50 CS up above Jarvan. Holy moly. That's a position where you definitely not want to be in as a Jarvan. See the gold. He's 2.5k up on the Jarvan. Lurox is a monster this game, and Jarvan, yeah, he didn't get any chance to impact the game at all. So, I doubt the Jarvan pick. If this is what they prepared, if this what Unicorns of Love are showing us right now is what they prepared for the Ezreal and the potentially outcoming Nidalee or Graves. Graves could be the other pick that could have come out. It didn't get banned, I think. A farm heavy jungler at least, because a farm heavy jungler counters Jarvan, as you can see, very, very well. I don't see the game plan of Unicorns of Love. They are mentally boom already, like you see Unicorns of Love, they didn't have any chance to play out the composition. Vladimir doesn't scale at the moment, like he's really behind. Jarvan completely thrown out of the game. Echo, again, I don't think Envy has any bad performances in this series, seriously. Like, this dude is where Jarvan should be playing around most of the early game, and he didn't do that. So I don't know why. Maybe the communication wasn't well, maybe the game plan was different, but I don't see anything else you can do with Unicorns of Love combo. Like, you should play around Echo. It's a must have, especially against Nidalee, because Echo, on the other hand, if he gets fed and he gets ahead and can snowball, he is a threat for Nidalee. If Echo starts to roam at some point and catches out Nidalee in the jungle while she's farming, Echo can basically completely take her out of the game. One shot. You know, like... This series definitely is Schalke favorite in my opinion. Maybe Unicorns of Love are gonna pull off some crazy plays. Maybe the Vladimir is gonna get so fat at some point in this game that this is gonna work out for Unicorns, but I doubt it. Jarvan is still trying to keep up in farm. This champion has no agency to do anything on that map at the moment. He just pops. Like, if Orianna, as you saw, hits an ultimate on him, he's nearly dead. I think Schalke are playing this really, really reserved at the moment. Maybe they expect... Yeah, this is what I expect from them. But maybe they expect some stuff from Unicorns of Love happening there. Maybe they expect something that are prepared. But I think they could just roll over. Because they are using their champs to their potential, I would say. A little bit. Because Ezreal wants to go late game, wants to farm up, wants to stay safe. Orianna, same procedure, wants to stay safe, farm up. Renekton is all the way in, like he goes for the early game. As we see, he does that pretty well here. But I think at this point of the game, Schalke should recognize that Unicorns are really on that edge where they think this game is over. You know, like, look at Jarvan. Renekton just one-shotted Vladimir, Jarvan comes in, and because of a little bit of HP, he just survives that, and Ezreal gets the kill, of course. Like, now Schalke could really run over Unicorns, to be honest. Now, since Jarvan is taken out, I think they should not push all the way in all the time. They should just go Baron, make a Baron bait if Schalke want to go for it, or at least take the Baron then. And then they could end this game. Like, this game at this point is decided, in my opinion. If Schalke would be a little bit more bold, you know, like, have a little bit more confidence to really close out this game, I think getting Baron and running over Unicorns... I mean, what do Unicorns have left, to be honest? Vladimir, not strong at all. Yeah, this is the state of the game, seriously, you know? Unicorns can't do anything against Schalke. So, yeah. I think Schalke need a little bit more confidence and this game would be over now. Envy is trying his best to... Same procedure in the first game. As in the first game. Envy is trying to carry and put this whole team on his shoulders, but man, this is such a big disadvantage Unicorns are in. He just doesn't get to do anything there, man. Disappointing performance by Unicorns. I think Schalke's team composition left a lot of flaws open for Unicorns to punish. I think the Jarvan pick could have worked if he would have used it into mid lane to get Envy ahead or maybe to just secure a safe laning phase for Vladimir. And they did the complete opposite. Jarvan did what he's really bad at. He tried to keep up in farm with Nidalee. Nidalee is still 50 CS ahead of Jarvan. So no point in doing that, even though, I mean, Jarvan was farming the whole fucking game. Let's be honest, he was just farming the whole game. And he still is in a big CS deficit. So, poor executions from Unicorns of Love, I have to say that. I think... yeah, this is something Schalke are playing with them right now. Schalke could finish the game off completely. They could take the Baron easily, go into their base, run it down, and that would be the game. Unicorns wouldn't have anything to put against that. Okay, they are doing the Baron. Unicorns are doing the desperation play. They're gonna die for it, pretty sure. Yeah. This is the game. Schalke definitely are the better team in this series. Holy moly. He goes for the steal. Yeah, well. He's dead. Unicorns are really just going for everything here. They really want to make that personal, I feel. Because they could be rushing their base already, like who cares that Echo is up there. Let's reflect a little bit on the current situation, because I always want to give a different perspective here. To watch Unicorns right now, they are completely behind. 15k gold difference. 116 skill score in favor of Schalke. I don't see any way to come back in this game. For Unicorns, seriously. Even if they would play the pick style now, that's a possibility. You can do that. Korean teams show that. Like, you have to really be well coordinated all throughout the whole team and all over the map. Basically, you have to play a really clean macro to not lose a lot. You're gonna lose something when you play catching style S5 now, but this would be the only possible scenario where I could see Unicorns at least keeping this game going for a little longer, to maybe get the Vladimir back into the game, get the Echo going. Like, to really play for catches, to put great vision, to put up traps, for example, to use a little bit the confidence Schalke has against them. Because as you see, as you saw in top lane here, after the Baron, how far they chased Envy. They are not completely dedicated to finishing that game. It would be finished already if they would be like that. But I think there is a slight chance if you would improve the communication, the playmaking, the macro, and the catch potential from from Unicorns of Love in this game, in this team, they could do something. But yeah, I just wanted to give the other side perspective, because I've been talking a lot about Schalke, how well they do that, but this game, in this state, with these players and their mindset and these champions, is over. Come on, finish it, please. Like, Schalke they are going for the Dragon Soul, it's alright, like, it's gonna ensure a good fight. Schalke are always going a little bit for the security, for the safe option, I would say. Like, not only Schalke Evolution, the real Schalke does that too. Like the normal team in the LEC, not the real. This is also real, whatever. But I think they're gonna finish now, because, as I said, they can just run over Unicorns of Love. They don't have anything to stop Schalke. Playing the 4-1. Renekton is facing up against Vlad. Vlad has to give that inhib up. And that should be over now. Yoo-hoo! That's a fat Renekton, man. But as you can see, Vlad can kite Renekton very well if it gets into the later stages of the game. That's why I just was talking for a tiny chance that Unicorns of Love could come back at some point in the game, maybe if they played it out very, very clean, but yeah, that's about it. Alright guys, this was game 2. Let's jump on to game 3. If you like what I do here, if you want to contact me, of course in the description my email and my Twitter and Reddit accounts are linked, and please subscribe, leave a like if you want to help me out at some point, because I'm just starting out on YouTube. And I really need the right people to recognize me, because I want to make it as a League of Legends team coach. And well, thank you for watching. Have a great day, have a great evening whenever you're watching, and see you in the next video tomorrow. Game 3.